Hi there, Stampers. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. I'm kind of excited about today's because I'm showing you a new product coming out in May. So you have kind of a month to wait unless you want to join my team. If you want to join my team, you can get it now. But look how cute. Stampin' Up! Is going to be releasing an entire suite, actually a mega suite, because it's going to have 2 bundles in it. That's going to have Winnie the Pooh. So I'm excited. I pulled out my Baby Blocks card from book number 4 of my Fun Fold tutorial books, and we're going to be making this card today. So I'm excited to show you how it's done. So I'm going to move you down to my desk. And how cute is this? This, like I said, is a mega suite, and so it has 2 stamp sets. So we have all the little animals, and then we have the frames and some sayings. And then, of course, we've got the dies that will cut out all the little stuffed animals, and then we've got an adorable set of frames. So, I mean, even if you don't like Winnie the Pooh, you should get these frames because they are amazing. I'm using one of them here. And then it's got this adorable designer series paper. So there's a sheet that has, you know, like all of the pre-done images. And then it has just adorable. My daughter, when she was little, just loved Winnie the Pooh. Oh, how cute. Okay, so in addition to that, as if that wasn't a whole lot of stuff already, they have an embossing folder that's coming out as well, that is the 100 Acre Wood map. And I was kind of playing around with it some, and using some of our new in colors, I used the hydrangea hue and did some dry embossing as kind of an option I was going to try with the card, and decided to go a different direction. And then I took that hydrangea hue and I put Versamark on it, and you can barely tell, but there's a little bit of a difference, probably much better in person. But putting Versamark on the embossing folder, and I put it on the side with the logo on it. So I put Versamark all over this, and then I stamped it on the hydrangea hue. And then I took the Peaceful Pine ink and inked up the folder, and then used Peaceful Pine paper. And I like that even better. So it just takes that subtle impression that you can kind of see if you get the right angle on it, and it just makes the whole thing pop. And it was real easy using our new ink pads. The new ink pads are super easy to open. So those of you who are worried about arthritis and being able to open them, that's taken care of. And then they kind of stack. There we go. So you can put them onto your desk and not worry about losing them, the lid anyway. And of course it stores like all of our Stampin' Up! Pads with the ink on that side. So when you close it and put it away, your ink pad is upside down so that the ink puddles on the top of the pad, not at the bottom. So we're gonna have these new ink pads in. The case is going to be all of our new in colors. And then next year when they do the color refresh, we'll get the rest of our colors with the magnetic pad. And then they've also come out with Stampin' Up's own black. And I don't know why they didn't use the same pad, but they didn't. And when you get this, you'll notice that there's a kind of a lip on the one side. They said it needed to be really tight in order for the ink to stay moist. So when you open it, like I said, look for that lip. that's just on the one side. And then this ink, you know, we've always had that debate of which ink do we want to use when we're watercoloring and which ones with the Stampin' Blends. This is what they call a hybrid ink that's going to work with both. So you don't need to decide which black ink am I supposed to be using. I just picked the one. So that was super cool. Okay, so back to today's card. So this is what we're making. And so I started out with a pecan pie base. And I took a 12 by 12. And then I cut 2 bases out of it at 5.5 inches. So this is 5.5 by 12, scored at 4 and then 8. And I used our regular cardstock. We do sell it in packs in the 12 by 12. So you can get a pack of brights, a pack of neutrals, a pack of, you know, subtles, and then you get 2 of each one. Or you can order full packs of it if you want the white core that goes with it. Okay. And then I've got some die cuts. The little blocks here, these pop-out strips. This is 1 1/4 by 6, and then it's scored at 1.5, 3, and 4.5. And I have 4 of those. To go on to those, I have my little 1 by 1 1/4 little pieces, and there are 8 of those. I die cut the letters using the mini alphabet die. This is one of the ones that's going to be carrying over. So I had to kind of selectively cut. You could cut the entire thing. I don't know what to do with all the leftover letters. So I was selectively cutting little pieces that were 1 inch by whatever, and then I was hovering over the letters I wanted and just cutting those out. And then, of course, I used those labels. So the in early espresso and very vanilla. And then I used the little leaves in this Mossy Meadow. Yeah, this is Mossy Meadow. Then I have for the inside of the card, I have a 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 for either side. So I have one that's in a pattern and one that's very vanilla. And then I split the front into 2. And so on the front of the card, we're going to have the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to use a strip of the Golden Glow, which is the color used in the designer series paper to be that strip down the middle. And I loved the way the little table of friends cut out perfectly to fit on the bottom there. So this bottom one is it's 3 3/4 wide, 2 3/4 tall, 3 3/4 wide, 2.5 tall, and then I have this 1/2 inch. And the 2 of these added together does give our 5 1/4. And that's just going to cover up the seam. Okay, so that's all of our pieces. As I said, as an option, I could have used the, that would have been cute. Could have cut this to the bottom size and used the embossed paper. But I'm going to go with this one. And then, of course, we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I came in with Old Friends Are the Best Friends. So I'm going to stamp on here, and I'm going to do all this in early espresso. Which I had on my desk, I swear. Okay, here we go. This is the bundle that I will be doing my next class out of. I've got another Fun Fold class coming up, and I'm going to be using this. And even if you don't like Winnie the Pooh, you could buy the pre-cut class and, you know, use the back side of the paper or use a different stamp set with it. But if you do love Winnie the Pooh, you can either order it through me, or if you already have it, you can use your own. Or you can just order the PDF tutorial with the video links. Okay, so this is bumblebees that I'm going to have kind of go across the top. So I could have chosen to color this in, but I didn't. I thought it was just adorable as is. Did anybody do anything extra fun for Easter? My daughter went bananas like she usually does and got this giant Easter basket for her foster daughter. So I got these great videos Easter morning of her being so excited about her package. And she called and wished happy birthday because she doesn't understand Easter. She's only 2, so she calls up and says, "Happy birthday." Okay, so I'm just placing these on either side. And then our little blocks are going to go here in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to do that by taking our little strips. Of course, we want to burnish them. And as you're burnishing them, make sure that your sides are aligned. You don't want these off crooked at all. Okay, and then I'm going to start out, I'm going to put one at the top, and I'm going to put one at the bottom because I want to try to space these out evenly. And it's easier for me to do top and bottom and then fit in the centers. I might even go in with a ruler and mark the center. Since I know this is 5 1/2, I could come in here at 2 3/4 and mark the middle. Okay, so put this one down here, and I'm butting it kind of up to that score line, but I'm not letting it interfere because I don't want that to stop it from closing properly. But I'm going to do top and then bottom. Then when I go to do the middle ones, I can take that spot where I've marked the middle, and I can kind of center this between, kind of a little above that middle, so that as I lay these down, sorry, I'll be able to evenly space them. Okay. Might even want to like finger hold one in place as you go ahead and do the other. And then, of course, once you have one side down, all you need to do is lay down your adhesive and then close the card, and it will automatically end up where it's supposed to. Okay, so I've got them all lined up. And then we're going to have our 4 pop-out blocks. So see, fairly easy. As I said, for the front of the card, I'm going to put the 2 pieces on there lining up. So I'm giving it kind of the regular border. And then I'm going to do the top one, giving the regular border. And they may meet up exactly in the middle. They may overlap a little. They may have a gap a little bit. Don't worry, because that's what the strip is going to be for. So whether yours butt up exactly like mine did or not, this is going to cover that center, so you don't need to worry about it. I'm going to take this one and go ahead and pop that up on dimensionals. Hi, Wendy. We haven't seen you on here in a while. Wendy has a brand new grandson. So she's been helping out mom and dad with the new baby. That's fun. Okay, so there's our label. And I'm just going to take this and place it on the front. I love how it's got the little notches here. I could totally see running ribbon behind that. And then we have our leaves. I should have my take your pick tool. And of course they have the adhesive sheet on the back, making them really easy to just slide in here. Actually, I want to put the larger one down first. There we go. It needs a few little embellishments on the front, but I'm going to move to inside. Now, when applying the letters, I want to make sure that I have them with the longer side, you know, this way. Should be one more. There we go. Because they are wider than they are tall. And, you know, it's not to say you couldn't make them all one by one. You would just cut this shorter and then do them every 1 1/4 instead of every 1 1/2. I just thought it got a little small that way. But it could totally be done. Now, when I did this before, I did this with a floral paper and used the cutest onesie and did it in pinks and purples. It came out really pretty. And so I said baby and then girl. You could also say baby boy and then have a little rattle or, you know, something down there at the bottom. There's lots of, you know, words we could come up with that could fit onto these little blocks. You could even do a longer word and just, you know, continue it. Of course, I set some letters down somewhere. What is it about being on camera that makes things like fly off my desk? Stormy in Central Florida, huh? The weather has been so strange. The week before last, we were breaking record temperatures. I mean, it was like, 10-year-old records, and we were still, 10 degrees above that. It was ridiculously hot. And then this Thursday, we woke up to snow. So I don't know what's going on out there. And my craft room is in my basement, so half the time I don't even know what's going on outside. Okay, so like I said, there's a couple more letters on my desk here somewhere, I swear. That's not the right one. Okay, I will fix that. But then all we need to do is take each of these and we're going to place them onto the little blocks. So after we get all of those placed on there, then you have this. So I hope you liked today's card. What would you do with it? Would you make a baby card? Would you do something else with it? Let me know. I'm always curious because there's so many different ideas of things you could come up with. I don't even know them all. I was trying to find the picture of the baby card. I should look in the index, right? That would make sense. Pop-up blocks, 69. There we go. There's the card. Maybe you saw me make that one recently, but same kind of ideas. I just spelled up and down on the blocks. It is. It's versatile. That's one of the things I love about Fun Folds is that I'm showing you guys, obviously, the Winnie the Pooh set, but you could do this with almost anything. It's so fun. Very cool. So thank you for being here. As I said, I'm working on that class to go, so that's going to be coming up soon. So make sure you are subscribed to my newsletter so that you get notification about that. And then the new catalog's coming out. So if you've placed an order with me in the last, say, 6 months, you'll get a catalog automatically. If you want to work with me as your demonstrator and you're not on my list already, please let me know. I'll make sure that you do get a catalog. They have combined them now. So the new catalog is actually thicker than our minis, but not as thick as the annuals have been. And one of the things they have done is they have included all of the colors and our summaries and all of those things in the back. So no more flipping back and forth between the annual and the other catalog. So lots of exciting things coming up, and I love sharing it with you. Thanks so much. Bye.